Uh, okay. And Yet the Town Moves is a really good comedy series. It's a really good comedy series. Let me give you the plot synopsis. The story is based around this girl, Hoyanami Ashishima or something like that. I'll put subtitles somewhere about what her actual name is, maybe, possibly, or you might have to look it up. But it's all about her, and like she works at a low budget, not very profitable coffee shop that is posing as a maid cafe because the owner wants to make some cash and is like, maid cafes are popular. So, how about we just make this a maid cafe? And by the way, you're working for me because I've been taking care of you all these years, giving you curry when you were down, and this is how you're going to pay me back. So she's working at this maid cafe, and it's just a comedy, like it's a character comedy, character slash situational comedy. It makes jokes about the characters. She's not very smart, so that's a whole thing. They make fun of that. They also have the characters. They're all not completely normal. Even the ones that fancy themselves in normal aren't really normal. But and it's just based around this town and everyone really in it, and it's just a nice little comedy that way. But the thing that makes this, and I already knew about this show technically. I didn't know it was a show till like pretty recently, but like I read the manga a while back when I was in the free trial for Crunchyroll's manga subscription, and I was just reading everything. I read Yamada, UQ Holder, Fuka. I think Fuka was on there. I read a lot of things, and that one thing from made by the guy who Flower Evil, what he did, like the Maria, like Where's Maria or something like that. I was reading that pretty religiously. But I was reading all of those and a bunch of other stuff all within that week, and this is one of the things that I read, like, I think the first few chapters of or something. I think it was on there. And I read it, and it was good. Nothing particularly special. The art didn't really stand out to me. The comedy was funny, but I mean, it wasn't having me dying or anything. It was like a low 7. I was like, okay, it's like a low 7, high 6. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. So I moved on with my life, and I never really looked back. And then I heard the announcement that it was finished, and then I was like, oh, I should probably get back to that, but I never actually did. But then I found out it had an anime, and I was like, oh, there's an anime. Who's it made by? Shaft. Interesting choice. And it was an interesting choice because Shaft's directing, not Shaft's directing, Akiyuki Shimbo's directing made this show a little bit more memorable than it would be otherwise. And it just, the way that their shots are composited, the composition of the shots, how well the jokes are timed, the animation going over the top sometimes, the moving around the camera in the room thing, that's great. The show does that a lot. But another thing that the show does, I don't know if this is in the manga, but like kind of spoilers ahead. I really want to tell people this. But like, just to say, like, after a while, let's just say that it becomes, instead of becoming a real comedy, it starts becoming kind of surreal a little bit sometimes. And like, so minor spoilers ahead, actually spoilers ahead, but it's a comedy show. It doesn't really have that much, but it's still spoilers. Anyway, yeah. What happens near the end is that they start introducing things that, like, you didn't expect, like, aliens are actually here, and they actually came down to Earth, and they actually did some stuff, and there was an alien battle that kind of happened, like between two aliens that our main character got wrapped up in. That all happened. Then there's the whole time travel thing that happened. And then the ending of the show, which is the sole reason this gets an 8 out of 10 from me, is it's so... The ending of the show does something that you wouldn't expect from a comedy, because it's not really that funny. It's pretty dramatic, and it actually executes it very well. You just wouldn't expect it from this show. And Yet the Town Moves last episode is woo. It's a finale. You know, I don't need to read the manga. I don't care. The ending of the show was fine. And it's hard to do a great ending when you have an ongoing material. It's hard to do that. Hard to find a good stopping point where you don't have to start again and make another season to make anyone happy. But they did it. And I gotta commend them for that. So, And Yet the Town Moves, 8 out of 10. Watch it on High Dive. That's where I watched it. It might be on Crunchyroll, but I don't use Crunchyroll at all. So, yeah, go watch it there. 8 out of 10. Would watch again. Would recommend. See you in the next... see you next time on Anime Every Day, bruh.